Hello, I'm Svitek, 360 Creative Coach. And in this episode, I want you to consider a very simple thing that I recently learned in terms of mindset. And that is, if you were born with it, you get to keep it. If you weren't, drop it. Now, what does this mean exactly? Well, were you born with hate, jealousy, and anger and anxiety? No, you were not. Were you born with love, playfulness, a joy for life? Yes, you were. So keep those. Now, it's funny because to me, this is like, when you really consider this, it's such a simple rule, right? Most things in life that are true are so simple, and when you can state them so simply, it's like this major epiphany moment of like, well, no duh, right? And that becomes like the epiphany where it's less about an awakening of sorts. It's more like, wait, how could I have been so stupid to not realize the simplicity of that? And I say that because, when I share this with my friends, they're like, okay, but, I have anxiety, and so it's not like I choose not to have anxiety and so forth. And it's like, I know I have to get rid of my anxiety, whatever. And I think what they're failing to understand is this idea is like, you weren't born with this anxiety. That this anxiety manifested. See, as far as I view it, our minds create our reality, right? So there's reality as we see it, and then there's actuality, meaning the full length and breadth and scope of the world, the possibilities, what's happening, and all that. And our minds define our reality within that actuality. And therapy and so forth is an attempt to try to, as much as possible, get our reality to match actuality. And I say this because, when we're born, what forms the mind? It's like the world has to create the mind, which then perceives the world. So in thinking about what I opened up with, if you were born with it, keep it. If you weren't, let it go. You can start to consider it that way and be like, okay, there was a point in time that I wasn't anxious, angry, hateful, spiteful, jealous, and so forth. So then, once you realize that, it at least unblocks you to be able to get to that where it's like, okay, I know I wasn't always this way. So what do I have to unlearn? Because that's really what it is. It's unlearning those things to get to that point that you always were. And that's the fascinating thing about this to me is, therapy and so forth is very much more about like, not learning new things. It's about unlearning all the bullshit that society's kind of taught you. Some of it, kind of necessary. Some of it really not. And so, in my mind, at least in my own journey, it has made things easier when I know that like, it's not something that's like inherent within me. That in fact, by getting rid of it, I'm going back to a natural state of what I was created, designed, whatever you want to, through divine intervention or just this miracle of life, returning to that. And that to me is A, poetic, and B, much more attainable, rather than like this thing of like, because it's within me. Right? It's my natural programming is to do that, and for some reason things got fucked up along the way. So it's like, just get rid of that shit and return, reset the system, so to speak. So that's how I view it, and that's how I consider these things and approach it. And in so doing, it's made the journey easier for me. And so I encourage you to do the same in hopes that it makes your journey a little bit easier. If you have any questions or thoughts of your own, please share them down in the comments section or hit me up on social media at Svitek. I certainly would appreciate it. If you're not subscribed or following me, I encourage you to do that as well so you get all the various lessons and episodes right when they drop. Likewise, if you feel this episode might be of benefit to somebody in your life, please share it with them. I certainly would appreciate it, and I appreciate you. I'll see you next time.